Welcome back, Sticks and Hacks. Back in 2021, I was lucky enough to caddy for Vicky Hurst for the first round at the Volunteers of America Classic at Old American Golf Club. Today, I'm playing similar tees and trying to beat her score of 68. I hope you watched the front nine of this attempt, but if not, go back and check that out. After 9 holes of golf, we are locked up at even par, which means I need to go low on the back 9 to keep up. The action picks up on the 10th hole. It's a straightaway short par 4 with the fairway bunker that divides the hole into 2 halves. The play is to hit one out to the right on the plateau. I decided to take driver to take the centerline bunker out of play. But without pulling out the par golf app, I failed to realize how much the hole narrows up with this club. I hit this exactly where I was aiming, but with too much club on that line, my ball bounced right through the fairway and into the trees.
Some cart path relief here.
Honestly, I got fairly lucky with the outcome. My ball ended up on the dirt cart path, which gives me some relief and at least a shot at the green. But for someone who draws the ball, those trees on the right are going to be a problem. I actually hit a decent shot and get the shot shape I wanted, but I didn't start it enough left and it clips enough of a tree to knock it down short and right of the green. I'll have a short chip with a lot of green to scramble for par. There I am in the distance, just 40 yards away. Plenty of green to let it roll up. I carried that a little bit further than I needed to, and it's certainly not a bad shot, but I've left myself a good 9 to 10 feet for par.
Too hard now, that was the read.
Hit it harder than I wanted for the line and right through the break. I step up quickly and make the comebacker for a bogey, but the mistake was really off the tee. Hard to make par from the trees, and I fall one behind the pace of Vicky. This takes me to the par 3 11th hole, playing a little over 190 yards, and again with a lake to the left, I'm aiming out to the right and letting my draw bring me back to the green. The pin is way in the back, and using the par golf app, you can see that the green is pretty narrow back there. I hit a solid 5-iron right into the sun. It draws, but not enough. I leave myself pin high right in the dormant rough. The green is slightly elevated, so I can't really see the putting surface, and I'm just trying to give myself a reasonable shot at par to avoid dropping 2 in a row. I actually catch this a little heavy, but with the bounce of the club, the ball lands on the French and rolls to a decent spot. Climbing the hill, I find a 9-footer which a PGA Tour pro is going to make a little less than 50% of the time, and Vicky made almost 100% of the time.
Good putt.
And I just catch the right edge to save par, keeping me just a single shot off the pace. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I've posted over 50 videos now and would love to make it past 50 likes. The 12th hole is a tricky par 4 that meanders through bunkers into a slight wind. The play is really to leave it short of the bunkers on the right to have the widest fairway. Anything more than that gets real narrow.
Great ball. Beautiful. Good. Swinging it well.
That was right where I was looking, maybe with slightly more draw, but being the right club this time, it curls between the sets of bunkers into the middle of the fairway and will be just a wedge into the green. This shot is in between clubs, so with more green behind the pin, I've chosen the longer club and I'm trying to take a little bit off of it. And I just don't quite commit to it. I catch it thin and block it short and right of the green. So I'm scrambling again, but it's a good lie and not a particularly difficult shot. Just land it on the front of the green and let it roll out. I almost hold this, but with that low trajectory and the limited spin from the rough, it rolls out a good bit and I find myself with another 9-footer for par. This putt is coming back down the hill and will break hard from my left to right. I never got that started high enough and it is low and left all the way. Vicky birdied this hole with a good 20-footer, and with that 2-shot swing, I'm now 3 off the pace. My wedge play is nowhere near as sharp as the LPGA players I was around. But that takes us to the par 5 13th hole, a hole where I should have a significant advantage with my length. While the hole kind of snakes around these bunkers and trees, I can just blast it over or through them to really shorten the hole. On the course, I failed to really look at the par golf app, and the line I've chosen is risky, and it goes right through the fairway. It's not bad, but it's not great. That leaves me with 211 yards, a little bit between clubs, so I'm going to try to muscle a 4-iron. I can't clearly see the target, but again, expecting a draw, I'm aiming out to the right to allow for this to come back. But I didn't count on hitting this ball heavy with the face shutting down. That's a sloppy strike, and I've brought the hazard into play, which really wasn't on my mind going into the shot. The challenge is the ball is not resting on the ground, so you risk going right under it with a wedge. Trying to do too much and see where it's going, I caught it fat. It gets up near the green, but comes off the false front, and I'll be chipping again for my fourth shot. I catch a little too much of it, and it's another tester for par. 10 feet, right to left. That putt goes low and left, and I'm lucky Vicky only pars the hole, so I only slip to 4 back through 13 holes. The 14th hole is one of the harder holes on the golf course. Using the Par Golf app, you can see that the centerline bunker in the landing area adds a particular challenge. Hitting straight into the sun adds another element of difficulty, as it makes you want to look up quickly to make sure you don't lose your ball. Hard to stay down and focused on these tee shots. I've chosen just a 3-wood, as driver would get narrow with the hazard on the left. I never got comfortable. The sun, the slanted tee box, the target, it's not good. I chunk pull dead left and get amazingly lucky that the result wasn't worse.
You're up though, you're fine. You're not in the, could be this nice level tee box.
That didn't help. We'll just blame that. That's
You were sitting in a hole, I think, in the tree.
yeah. Thanks for pointing that out. That's what.
I didn't plan on hitting 3-wood, but here we are. I have a chance to hit the green in 2, but it's going to take a good one. And I get a good one. Solid strike right at the green, covers the hazard and bounds onto the front. I'm putting, but it's from a long ways away. 66 feet in fact. Up and over a hill, but after that tee shot, I would have taken this putt gladly. I hit a really good lag here. It ends up about 5 feet away. A little right to lefter, and I just get greedy. I decide I'm going to hammer it through the break to make par and hit one of my few bad putts on the day. It's a 3-putt bogey after that miraculous second shot.
We've got a really nice par, Dallas.
Yeah. Same guy who hit that shot on the green, then 3 putts? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
And just like that, I'm 5 strokes back. These LPGA players are good, and better at managing the course than I am. Luckily, the 15th hole is a short par 4, and one where I can use length to my advantage, as other than the centerline bunkers, there's plenty of room to blast one out there. I still kind of rock out of this one and don't quite hit the draw I'm looking for. The bunker on the right was never on my mind, and lucky for me I stayed just short of it. So just 68 yards with a 56-degree sand wedge. The pin is in a bowl, so there's a little bit of a backstop. I hit a low flighted one and I almost hole it, but it stays up on the slope about 7 feet away. The best birdie luck I've had so far on the back 9, so I better make it to start gaining some ground. This is a screaming downhill putt with a little right to left, so I elect to leave the pin in to help slow it down. Pour that one right in the center. Good confident stroke to get back to +3, and I get 1 back on Vicky. I'm only 4 back, but just 3 to play. The 16th hole is a short par 3. It's just a wedge for me. The sun's going down and it's starting to cool off. At 138 yards, it's a decent pitching wedge number for me, but there's very little green behind this back pin, as you can see in the Par Golf app.
Yeah, it did for a second, then it didn't anymore.
Another long putt, 56 feet up the hill, breaking left to right. These are pure speed putts. I'm not thinking make, I'm thinking speed control and make the next one as easy as possible.
Right there.
Great putt.
Hey.
Anything within 10% of the distance of the original putt is pretty good, and this is well within 5 feet. I give it the due diligence and roll it into the left-hand side of the cup for par. The challenge is, Vicky hit a great shot on this hole and made 2, so I'm back to down 5 with 2 to play at 3 over par. The 17th is a short par 5. The centerline bunkers aren't really in play for me, and with the Par Golf app, I really just need to keep the ball up the right-hand side to avoid the left-hand hazard, and I'll have a nice look at the green. It's one of the widest fairways on this back 9.
It's all bounce.
Yeah, there's that thicket there, but
and one of my better drivers on this side. It starts where I want, doesn't quite draw as much as expected, but with a big bounce it's down where I want it and it's in the fairway. That leaves just 141 yards into the green. The sun has almost completely gone down and it's cooler, so that's just a baby 9-iron.
Yeah, a good caddy would never say don't be sure.
That should be
Good
fun,
caddy
right?
says,
Is that not fun?
backstop.
Is that not fun? Yeah, that's exactly right.
It ends up better than I thought even. 11 feet for Big Bird, eagle. This putt breaks hard right to left and is a bit of a tricky read in the dark. I take a decent run at it, but miss on the low side. With good speed, it's a tap-in birdie, and again, I'm relatively lucky not to lose ground to Vicky. She hit a fairway wood or hybrid to this hole and had just 5 feet for eagle. I remain 5 back at 2 over par going into the 18th hole. The 18th is an awesome hole. Another hole with a centerline bunker and a hazard down the entire left-hand side, making the drive a little more difficult. Overall, there's plenty of room to land the ball, but the split fairway makes you think. Using the Par Golf app, I've chosen to favor the right-hand side of that center bunker to give plenty of room in case my ball draws on the wind and to take the hazard out of play. I'm hitting driver as I remember this hole playing on the longer side, and I'm feeling confident with this club after the last several holes.
Oh, that's perfect
ball.
You're not even going to get the trap. You're going to hit the feed slot. It's downhill from there. You'll be fine.
In retrospect, I unnecessarily brought the 2 bunkers into play when a 3-wood would have been just fine and left me short of the trouble. But I got away with it, and I'm rewarded with just 118 yards and a gap wedge to this hole.
Short maybe? Nope.
I hit this well, but with the cooler air it just doesn't fly, and it comes up on the front third of the green. Good golf is boring, and it can be a lot of safer shots to big targets.
I thought his ball was out of play. I'll just let you know.
Well, you're kind of putting on a ridge. It looks
Yeah,
like one
no,
way
it
falls
is.
this way and one falls that way. I mean, I agree with you. I'm not proud of it, Ken.
You'll redeem yourself on this one. Put it in.
My generous host builds me up with belief. It's always fun playing in a group with positive vibes, and I step up to the 7-footer knowing that it's as good as in. Right in the center. It wasn't always pretty, but it's a 2 over 73 and 5 strokes worse than Vicky's score. I'm a 0 handicap, and she would have smoked me on this day. Now her round put her in the top 15 on that day. My score of 73 would have put me in 100th place. With the Par Golf app, I know what I need to work on so that I can beat them next time. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching my videos, then by now you probably know that I use the Par Golf app to track my golf on the golf course. But what you probably don't know is not only am I an avid user, but I'm also the developer of the app. With automatic swing detection, it integrates seamlessly with my on-course routine, runs in the background to where I don't even know that it's there. With a quick glance, I can get a yardage from my watch or my phone, I can get caddy adjusted distances for elevation and for wind, or exact distances to that pesky bunker. The app is best when paired with an Apple Watch, but will also work with just your phone, either in your pocket or in your golf bag. The best part is the easy to digest analytics that become available after your round that will help you focus your practice and improve faster. I'm playing the best golf of my life while practicing less with a Par Golf handicap to prove it. Download it today on the Apple App Store. And now, back to your regularly scheduled content.